Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learn English Podcast.
My Crazy Husband. Learn English through story. When I got married, my parents were worried. They thought James was not stable enough, that he was too careless, too full of dreams and not enough reality. But I defended him. I told them that love is not about safety. Love is about passion, about living fully, about taking risks. And at that time, I truly believed it. And maybe I still do. But marriage is different from dating. Marriage is waking up every morning and facing life together. And life is not always romantic. Sometimes it is bills. Sometimes it is responsibilities. Sometimes it is problems you never expected. And that is when I began to see another side of James. The side that made me laugh, but also sometimes made me cry. Because he was the kind of man who would spend the rent money on buying parts for a strange machine he was building in the garage, convinced that it was going to make us rich, even though he had no real plan. And when I asked him what we would do if we couldn't pay the landlord, he just laughed and said, "Don't worry, everything will work out." And somehow, sometimes it did, but other times it didn't. And I found myself having to work extra hours, to beg for extensions, to clean up the messes he left behind. And yet, even then, I couldn't stay mad at him for long, because he would come to me with those sparkling eyes and that ridiculous smile, and he would say something so funny, so unexpected, that I would burst into laughter despite myself. And I realized that this was the strange balance of our life together. Madness and love, frustration and laughter, chaos and adventure, always mixed together so tightly that I couldn't separate them. Now let me tell you about some of the craziest moments, because those are the ones that truly show what kind of man James is, and why I say he is crazy, but in a way that makes life unforgettable. Like the time he decided to surprise me on my birthday by cooking dinner, even though he had never cooked anything in his life beyond instant noodles. And he was so confident, he told me to stay out of the kitchen while he prepared a masterpiece. And I, curious but also suspicious, obeyed. And after 2 hours, I smelled something burning. And when I ran in, the entire kitchen was filled with smoke. The oven was on fire. And James was standing there holding a frying pan with a look of triumph on his face, as if he had discovered fire for the first time. And when I screamed and tried to put out the flames, he just laughed and said, "Well, at least you'll never forget this birthday." And he was right. I never did, though we had to repaint the kitchen and buy a new oven. Another time, he decided he wanted to start a business selling homemade drones because he had seen some videos online and thought it looked easy. So he ordered hundreds of dollars worth of parts, filled our living room with wires, motors, and batteries, and spent weeks building strange little flying machines that crashed into walls, scared the cat, and once even flew straight out the window into the neighbor's yard. And when I asked him what his plan was, he shrugged and said, "To change the world one drone at a time." And though the business never made a single cent, I couldn't stop admiring his spirit, because even when he failed with so much energy, so much enthusiasm, that it was impossible not to love him, even if he drove me crazy in the process. And if you think that was wild, let me tell you about the time he decided to bring home a goat. Yes, a real goat, because he had read somewhere that goats could mow the lawn better than any machine. And one morning, I came home from work, and there was this goat tied to a post in our backyard, chewing happily on my roses. And James was standing there with a proud smile, saying, "Look, honey, free landscaping service." And I was so shocked I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. But the goat stayed, and for weeks it became part of our life, knocking over the trash cans, eating my clothes if I forgot them on the line, and even once sneaking into the house and climbing onto the couch like it owned the place. And every time I complained, James would just laugh and say, "See, life is more fun with a little chaos." And I realized that was his philosophy. That was how he lived, always turning ordinary life into a story, always adding some madness that made everything unforgettable. And while sometimes it exhausted me, I also knew that without him, my life would probably be very quiet, maybe even boring. And maybe that was why I stayed. Because even though he drove me insane, he also made me feel alive in a way no one else ever had. Another unforgettable story happened during our first trip abroad together, because James had decided that we needed an adventure outside of our small town. And so he saved money. Well, to be honest, I saved money while he spent his on more experiments. And finally, we booked a cheap trip to Thailand. And I imagined peaceful beaches, beautiful temples, and romantic sunsets. But with James, nothing was ever that simple. Because on the very first day, instead of relaxing on the beach like I wanted, he insisted we rent motorbikes and explore the city. And of course, he had never driven one before, but he was full of confidence, telling me, "Don't worry, I watched a video online. I know how to do it." And within 10 minutes, he had crashed into a fruit stand, sending mangoes and bananas flying everywhere, while I stood there half laughing, half terrified, apologizing to the angry shopkeeper. And James, with scratches on his arms, just stood up, brushed himself off, and said, "Well, that's one way to meet the locals." And somehow he managed to turn even that disaster into a funny memory. Though for the rest of the trip, I refused to let him drive anything bigger than a bicycle. And of course, he turned that into a joke too, telling everyone we met that his wife had banned him from engines, which made them laugh and made me roll my eyes. But deep inside, I loved his ability to find humor even in failure, because it taught me not to take life too seriously. But his craziness was not always funny. Sometimes it was frustrating, like when he got obsessed with the idea of living off the grid, which meant he wanted us to disconnect from electricity, internet, and modern conveniences and live in the woods like pioneers. And for weeks, he researched solar panels, water filters, and camping equipment. And then one Saturday, he announced, "Pack your bags, we're moving into nature." And before I could protest, he had already rented a cabin deep in the forest with no running water and no phone signal. And while at first it felt like an adventure, soon I realized he had no idea what he was doing. Because on the first night, he tried to start a fire and ended up burning his shoes. On the second night, he thought he heard a bear and locked us inside, only to discover it was just a raccoon. And by the third day, I was ready to cry because I couldn't take another meal of half-burnt canned beans. But James just kept smiling, saying, "This is life. This is freedom." And though we only lasted 5 days before returning home, dirty, tired, and grateful for our shower, I have to admit that part of me enjoyed the madness, because those 5 days are still some of the most vivid memories I carry. And I learned that with James, every failure was just another story, another adventure, another lesson about how unpredictable life can be. Then there was the time he tried to surprise me with a romantic anniversary gift, which sounds sweet until you hear what it was. Because James decided that instead of buying jewelry or flowers like normal husbands, he was going to write me a song and perform it live at a small cafe where we sometimes had coffee. And without telling me, he arranged with the cafe owner to use their microphone during the evening. And suddenly, in front of 50 strangers, he stood up, grabbed a guitar he had borrowed, and began to sing loudly about our love. Except James didn't actually know how to play guitar, and his singing was, let's just say, unique. And people in the cafe were staring, some laughing, some clapping, while I sat there red with embarrassment, wanting to disappear. But at the same time, my heart was touched, because who else would do something so crazy just to make me smile? And when he finished, everyone clapped loudly, more out of kindness than skill, and James bowed like a rock star, then came to me, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "Happy anniversary, my love." And in that moment, I couldn't be mad at him, because even though it was chaotic, it was also pure, and I knew he loved me in his own wild way. Life with James continued like that, a constant mix of laughter, frustration, and unexpected surprises. And the older I grew, the more I realized that maybe crazy wasn't such a bad word after all, because his madness forced me out of my comfort zone, made me stronger, made me more flexible, and taught me lessons I would never have learned otherwise, like how to stay calm in chaos, how to find humor in disaster, and how to love someone not because they're perfect, but because they are real, raw, and full of life. And maybe that is what true love is. Not the calm and quiet kind you see in movies, but the stormy, unpredictable kind that keeps your heart beating fast, that keeps you awake, that forces you to grow. And even though sometimes I wished James was a little more normal, I also knew that if he were, I might not love him the same way, because it was his madness that made him unique, his craziness that made our life a story worth telling. And every time I share it with people, they laugh, they shake their heads, and they say, "You must be very patient." And maybe I am. But more than patience, I think what keeps me going is the belief that life is short. And if you don't fill it with laughter, stories, and even a little bit of madness, then what is the point? And as the years rolled on, my crazy husband only grew crazier in the most unexpected, unforgettable ways. Like the time he decided to start a rooftop garden, even though we lived in an apartment building with rules against pets, noise, and yes, farming. But James believed that rules were only creative suggestions, and so one morning he carried bags of soil, seeds, and pots up 10 flights of stairs, and by the end of the week, our rooftop looked like a miniature jungle with tomatoes, cucumbers, and even a watermelon plant. And while neighbors complained, James charmed them by giving away vegetables for free. And somehow, instead of being angry, they started calling him the rooftop farmer and even helped water the plants when he was away, which once again proved that his madness always had a way of turning into something magical. And though I often sighed and asked him why he couldn't just live a normal life, deep down I knew the answer. Because if he did, he wouldn't be James, and I wouldn't have all these stories to tell. Another moment came when James became obsessed with the idea of learning how to cook like a professional chef. And for weeks, he watched cooking shows, bought expensive spices we had never heard of, and filled our kitchen with strange tools. And one night, he announced he was going to cook me a 5-star dinner, except what arrived at the table was a burned steak, salty soup, and a dessert that somehow exploded in the oven, covering the walls with chocolate. But when I saw the proud look in his eyes, I couldn't even be mad because he looked like a little boy showing me his first drawing. And I ate every bite, smiling because I knew he had done it with love. And he laughed at himself, promising that next time he would invent a new dish for the world. And though his experiments never quite worked, I realized that every messy dinner became another sweet memory of our life together. But perhaps the craziest chapter of all came when James decided to become an inventor because he was convinced he could create something that would change the world. And for months, our garage turned into a laboratory full of wires, pipes, and half broken machines. And every night he would come inside with grease on his hands and sparks in his eyes, telling me about his new idea. And while most of them looked like junk, I admired his passion. And once he even created a machine that could make toast, coffee, and eggs at the same time. Though the first time he tested it, it nearly set the kitchen on fire. But he just laughed, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and said, "Don't worry, this is how Thomas Edison felt too." And though his inventions never worked, his determination inspired me because he showed me that failure was not the end, it was just another step. And I started to see that maybe his craziness was actually a kind of genius. Not the kind you measure with success or money, but the kind that refuses to give up, that keeps dreaming, that keeps creating, no matter how many times it fails. And I began to realize that that is what made me fall in love with him in the first place. And then came the day when life tested us more than ever because James lost his job and suddenly we didn't know how we would pay rent. And I was scared because for once his laughter couldn't solve the problem. But James, being James, refused to give in to fear. And instead of crying, he said, "This is just another adventure," and started painting signs, fixing bikes, even performing magic tricks for kids at the park to make money. And though it wasn't much, it was enough to keep us going. And I saw a side of him I hadn't seen before, a side that was strong, resourceful, and brave. And even though the world would call him crazy, to me, he became a hero because he showed me that no matter how hard life gets, you can always fight back with creativity, with courage, and with love. And I knew in that moment that I would never trade him for anyone else, not even the richest or calmest man in the world, because what we had together was something money could never buy. As I sit here now telling you this long story about my crazy husband, I realize that every single moment, every disaster, every laughter, every unexpected adventure has shaped not only our marriage, but also who I am as a person. Because without James, I might have lived a life of safety, comfort, and predictability. But with him, I have lived a life of stories, lessons, and endless surprises. And though sometimes I still roll my eyes or shout when he does something outrageous, I also find myself laughing moments later because I know this is the man I chose. This is the man who fills my world with color, and this is the man who reminds me that life is not meant to be ordinary. It is meant to be lived fully, bravely, and maybe even a little bit crazily. So if you ask me now, after all these years, what I think about my husband, I will smile and tell you the truth. Yes, he is crazy, but he is my crazy, and I wouldn't change him for the world. Because sometimes the people who drive you the most insane are also the ones who make your heart the happiest. And at the end of the day, when the house is quiet and I look at him sleeping peacefully beside me, I know that all the chaos, all the madness, and all the wild adventures were worth it because they gave me not just a husband, but a lifetime of love, laughter, and unforgettable stories that I will carry with me forever.